Welcome back to week 2 of what I'm sowing and growing. Saturday, I think the 21st of February. This week we are growing some spinach. This is monopa. We have celeriac, which is Asterix, which is an F1. Typically I don't grow F1s, but that came free, so I thought I'd give it a go. Some cabbage, which is April, which is a spring cabbage. And towards the end I'll start the potting on of some of these peppers that I've already started. I started those in January up on the windowsills. They're now at a size where they desperately need potting on. So they'll be popped onto just these little square pots to carry on growing. So much as per last week, the obligatory warning. I grow in propagators, in heated propagators, and then my plants go onto heated windowsills. I'm also in zone 8, well, it's on the cusp of 8A and 8B, which means that my sowing period, the point where it's safe for me to sow in terms of getting crops outside, will be different to yours. If you didn't have propagators to start them off, you'd start them later. If you were in a colder growing zone, say towards the north of England, you wouldn't grow these yet. You'd put these off a couple of weeks. Now the spinach, we do eat a lot of spinach, and I typically multi-sow, much like Charles Dowding does. 3 or 4 to a cell. These will get planted out. Idea is that really to try and get as good a harvest as we can before about June, which is when it will start to flower. We're quite fortunate in that I've got quite a lot of freezer space. So what I'll do is I'll grow this, and obviously whilst it's fresh, we'll eat it fresh. We'll also take as much as we possibly can and freeze it down. We'll wilt it down and freeze it for the rest of the year, really, or until later on in the year, because we do like a lot of spinach. I'll do two trays of that. Spinach is a fairly cold weather crop, so much like most of the others that prefer things like alliums and the celeriac, for example, and actually for that matter the cabbage. Once they have literally just come through the surface, they go straight out of the propagator onto a windowsill, because they don't like it too warm. They'll go out probably in a cold frame or into the polytunnel as soon as they are 2 inches tall, something like that. As long as they become recognisable mini plants, they'll go out. One of the nice things about spinach, I think, is that the speed at which it grows. I mean, it'll start out so slow, but as soon as you hit sort of April or May, it'll just explode. It can double in size in the space of a couple of days. So, plenty of harvests off of it. Typically, I like to eat the young leaves fresh. So the youngest, smallest leaves, particularly the first crop, so to speak. They're fantastic in salads. Not too peppery at that point, and they're not too tough. Having said that, the bigger leaves are just as nice. I typically just wilt them down, and I use them in curries and things like that. Fantastic lamb curry with lots of spinach in it. So just literally just like dusting to cover the surface. Same over here. Again, just household waste compost, nothing fancy there. What I did do this time though was I put it through a sieve, because I was finding last week that the latest batch that I've got is more woody, filled with more woody plants than typically I've come to expect previously. So I did put it through just a very rough sieve, last time, just to make sure that the worst of the woody bits were out there. Appreciate it's a bit boring just watching me, but you know, I thought it'd be nice for you to come along and watch. This is an early spring cabbage April. Quite tasty actually, one of my favourites. I'm just literally going to put a couple in each cell, and what I will do is I will thin these down to the most vigorous in each cell as they come up, and again, particularly for cabbage, and I know I keep saying this is really important for cabbage. If you don't take these off of the propagator and into somewhere with excellent lighting, so either under UV lights, LED lights, or on a strong windowsill, very quickly they will grow from literally just poking above the surface to being that long in the space of a couple of days. In actual fact, I will demonstrate that to you. 2 seconds. And to demonstrate that, here are some greyhound. I left these in the that's my thumb, you know, these are big plants. These are 1.5 inch long, 2 inch long stems. 3 days. 3 days too long. This batch is now scrap. I can't use these, so I'll be resowing some greyhound probably later this week or early next week. Simply because they are very prone to rapid growth. All cabbages and brassicas generally bolt very quickly, or they grow very quickly. So, like I said, just a little bit of warmth to get them off, and then straight onto the windowsill with the light. That will slow them right down, which is really what you want at this time of year. It's too cold for them to go out at the moment, or they need to be sort of mini plug plants before you put them out. And we have our celeriac. Nothing on either of my previous celeriacs as yet, but that's not expected because they're an absolute pain to germinate. I really struggle. Once they're up, once they've germinated, they're fine. It's just getting them up, and it can take months. I had a set of celery that I had just put in. I put it on the windowsill, and I left it there, and I forgot all about it. And lo and behold, about 7 or 8 weeks later, we had, I think, 1 out of 20 plants come up. Let's get those on the top. Might as well get my bang for my buck, see what I can get out. Okay, so these will get doused with water. I need to make another spinach label. I already made the one for some reason. I knew I was going to be planting 2, but hey. Yeah, my peppers are looking fantastic. Far more than I need. I actually only need really about 2 of each type because I'm growing an awful lot of varieties this year. You've got yellow monsters, which is a sweet pepper, pepper called Ariane, which is another sweet one. Frigatello, that's a longer pointed, sort of more jalapeno look-esque pepper, but again it's a sweet pepper. And we've got cayenne. I've got a couple sets of hot peppers that are at a similar sort of stage that are on the front windowsill that I'll bring those in and repot those at the same time. So I'll just pop 1 or 2 on and let you know. Peppers, typically when I'm repotting, I'll only put relatively small, maybe 1 inch of soil in the bottom, because I want to bury these deep. So we'll take one of these yellow monsters, pop it in, and you'll see the stem will be, as long as you don't cover the growing point, you'll be fine. And that really is the key with these. But put them down deep, won't harm them at all, and will allow them to grow good, strong, deeply bedded rootstock, so that it gives them a good base from which to draw nutrients. Nice wide, deep root bed, which will then give you more fruiting crop. All I'll do for these to label them is I'll put some electrical tape on it with a Sharpie, like what they are, and go from there. But that's it. That's it for this week. I'll be back next week for another sowing video. I do plan on, at some point, if the weather subsides a bit, doing a piece on how to make a carrot and parsnip bed from an old stone crate. So, and by that I mean timber crates that are used to transport stone that is used in things like landscaping. You can get them from various sources. I have a local landscaping firm that drop them off every now and again to me, and I think I've got 3 at the moment. The benefits to them are that they are made from hardwood, so they'll last a very long time, and very well constructed, so you don't really want to be deconstructing them like you would with pallets, because you'd be cursing and swearing and you wouldn't get a lot of timber off the back of it. But they're fabulous for nice deep containers that you really don't need to do anything with. It takes 10 minutes to convert one into a carrot and parsnip bed. So if the weather subsides next week, I'll try and get that done and put that up as a standalone video during the week. Until then, or until next weekend, whichever the weather permits, I will see you on the next one.